the dim glow of a full moon, the old railway tracks twisted through the mist-shrouded forest, like the gnarled fingers of a forgotten specter. The legend spoke of the phantom train to nowhere, a spectral locomotive that appeared without warning, ferrying its passengers on a ghostly journey through the unknown. Local folklore told of the train's origins dating back to a century-old disaster, where a passenger train, laden with hopeful travelers, vanished mysteriously one fateful night. Some said it was a mechanical failure. Others whispered of a curse that doomed the train to an eternal voyage. Over the years, the track fell into disrepair and was abandoned, but the legend grew, taking on a life of its own. As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky with the shades of crimson and indigo, the old railway tracks seemed to slither through the forest, like a serpent leading into the unknown. Clareth, James, and their friends, Rachel and Tom, had heard tales of the phantom train to nowhere, but nothing could have prepared them for the chilling adventure that awaited them as the group set up their campsite. Tom, ever the adventurer, decided to explore the overgrown tracks further. Armed with only a flashlight, he pushed through the thick underbrush. The beam of his flashlight swept over old, rusted rail cars, buried under vines and debris. Suddenly his light caught something unusual, an old, faded ticket stub, partially buried in the dirt. The date on it was from the early 1900s, and the text read, "For passage to the unknown." Tom's heart raced as he showed the ticket to the others. Clara tried to dismiss it as a mere prop, but James, eyes wide with excitement, insisted it was a sign. They decided to stay and wait, hoping for a glimpse of the legendary train. The night deepened, and a dense fog began to creep along the ground. As the friends huddled around the campfire, the temperature dropped sharply. The flames flickered erratically, casting long, dancing shadows on the trees. Rachel, feeling uneasy, ventured into the mist to find a better place to set up her sleeping bag. Her flashlight's beam revealed an abandoned signal house that looked as if it hadn't been touched in decades. As she approached, the door creaked open by itself, and she heard a faint, ghostly voice whispering her name. Her flashlight caught a glimpse of a shadow moving inside before the door slammed shut. When Rachel hurried back to the camp, her face pale and eyes wide, the group could tell something was wrong. The eerie voice had left a lingering chill that settled over them, amplifying their apprehension. As midnight approached, the distant sound of a train whistle echoed through the fog. The friends gathered their courage and moved closer to the tracks, peering into the swirling mist. Suddenly a ghostly light appeared, growing brighter and more defined. The phantom train emerged, its old-fashioned design illuminated by an ethereal glow. It was unlike anything they had seen. Its engines were silent, but the clatter of wheels against the tracks was unmistakable. Through the grimy, fogged-up windows, they saw spectral figures inside, passengers in vintage clothing, their faces frozen in expressions of fear and sorrow. James, overcome with fascination, tried to step onto the tracks, but was pulled back by Clara. They watched in awe as the train glided past, the apparition seeming to dissolve into the mist. It was an unnerving sight that seemed to blur the boundary between the living and the dead. As the phantom train disappeared into the fog, the friends felt a strange compulsion to follow. They pursued it, their steps echoing loudly in the oppressive silence. The fog grew thicker, and the railway seemed to twist and turn in impossible ways. Suddenly, Clara's flashlight flickered and went out, plunging them into darkness. Panic set in as the mist grew colder and more suffocating. The friends stumbled over each other, trying to find their way. The fog seemed alive, swirling around them, and strange disembodied voices whispered from all directions. The sensation of being watched grew overwhelming. Just when it seemed they were lost forever, a beam of moonlight pierced through the fog, illuminating a rusted old station house. They stumbled inside, gasping for breath. The station was decrepit, with old ticket counters and faded advertisements. In the dim light, they noticed a peculiar clock on the wall. It was stuck at midnight. As the group caught their breath and examined the station, Clara found an old ledger on a dusty desk. Flipping through the brittle pages, she found records of passengers, many with the same surname, all from different years. The final entry was dated the night before, with the name Eleanor Blake circled. Rachel, whose family history included an Eleanor Blake, suddenly realized a chilling connection. Eleanor was rumored to have been a passenger on the ill-fated train a century ago. The legend suggested that the train was eternally bound to seek out those with a connection to its past victims. The friends were stunned by the revelation. As they prepared to leave, the station lights flickered, and the ghostly whistle sounded once more, echoing through the night. They knew they had narrowly escaped a fate tied to the phantom train's eternal journey. As dawn began to break, the friends emerged from the mist, exhausted and shaken. The fog lifted, revealing the old railway tracks once more, seemingly normal, yet forever altered in their eyes. They left with a newfound respect for the legend and a shared bond over their terrifying experience. They never spoke of the phantom train again, but the eerie glow of that ghostly locomotive and the whispering voices in the fog remained etched in their memories. The legend of the phantom train to nowhere continued to haunt their dreams, a thrilling reminder of the thin veil between the known and the unknown, and the mysteries that lay just beyond our grasp.